Yes, I'm done.
Hello there, many thanks for joining us on Just in Your Life this beautiful evening. Thank you so much for being part of the program. Joining us today to discuss something very important is Comrade Dan Obo, Special Advisor on Youth Mobilization to the Governor of Cross River State. He is widely respected for his wealth of experience as a youth and political mobilizer. Over the years, he has been at the forefront of engaging young people in governance, driving political participation, and strengthening grassroots mobilization. As Nigeria gradually builds momentum towards the 2027 general elections, conversations about youth involvement, political alignment, and readiness of institutions like the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), especially with the growing adoption of technology, have become central to shaping the future of our democracy. Today, we sit down with Comrade Obo to unpack these critical issues, examining how young people can overcome challenges, seize opportunities, and play a decisive role in determining Nigeria's political and democratic landscape. Again, I welcome you to the show. We'll go for a short break. When we return, it'll be time to get into the conversation. Young people, mobilization towards 2027. Are we ready? We'll be right back.
The future of our planet depends on our daily choices. But with the ever-growing demand for energy, innovation and industrialization, how can we balance our needs with the need to protect our environment? Exploring a greener world, one story at a time. Carbon Footprints is your guide to a sustainable ecosystem. Join us as we explore the intersection of energy, innovation, industrialization, and the environment on Carbon Footprints every Saturday by 11 a.m. Together, we can create a sustainable ecosystem.
Show it only on ADBN TV.
ADBN, Advocate Broadcasting Network.
Say your voice get power.
What they promise us is let the breathe air, and the air we find out that we, the poor masses, are breathing is dustbin air. This solar can cause a lot of havoc that every day I have to be treating malaria, I have to be treating diarrhea. It's very, very unfortunate that we are all Nigeria and we are suffering ourselves like this.
Use that power on top people they talk with boldly. Make your voice take the lead. Call me, make we yarn.
People they talk with Bongi, Monday to Friday, 5 p.m. only for ADBN TV.
Welcome to the program, and thank you so much for joining us, Comrade Dan Obo, Special Advisor on Youth Mobilization to Cross River State Governor. Thank you so much for being here. You've been here before.
Yes.
I'm happy I can still drag you here to discuss youth mobilization, especially as engagements are ongoing towards elections come 2027. You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes. How is Cross River State and how is the mobilization
it's
doing?
fine. Going fantastic work.
Of course, what do I expect from you, right? So Nigeria is already witnessing early alignment and political convergence and all of that as we approach 2027. From your experience, how significant is youth mobilization this early in shaping the outcomes of the outcome of the general elections?
Sometimes the earlier the better.
Okay.
It gives you time to know which area you need to make amends, right? It gives you time to know which area you need to make some level of improvement in the course of alignment and realignment for 2027. And of course, it's obvious that the young people need to align to be able to either sustain good governance or vote away bad governance. Either to sustain youth inclusion or vote away non-youth inclusion. So whichever way it is, the young people at this point is very important and necessary to be able to talk to each other, which is what is happening across the country. And we are very deliberate about it.
So when you say youth mobilization, we saw massive mobilization. It was quite organic, if there's anything. Where would you put young people when it comes to awareness, political awareness? Because I still listen to young people. They do not know the roles that their representatives, their legislators are supposed to play for them. They do not know what to expect from their governors, and that also affects largely the outcome of elections. If you do not understand what your governor is doing, you don't know if he's doing well or not. You expect that your wife is pregnant, you call your governor to say, I need to buy baby things. So we get that. Where are we when it comes to political awareness and political parties who are supposed to lead and champion the awareness? Are they doing a good job?
Yes, you know, naturally it's commonsensical. We know that in Nigeria there's no ideology when it has to do with political parties, you know. There are basically no ideology, because you find someone winning elections in party A today and tomorrow is moving to party B with the same position, because, you know, votes are not given to an individual.
Yeah, they're given
to political parties. So you find a party, you know, you find someone who is elected either as a governor or as a senator or as a federal house member or as an assembly member or chairman, name it, you know, taking away the vote of party A to move to another party without any consequences. That shouldn't be, right? So, but you see, as young people, as we mobilize ahead of this 2027, we are conscious that political parties have no ideology. So certainly our strategy must change. Our strategy in terms of mobilizing for 2027 must change. And we must mobilize, we are deliberate in mobilizing to sustain youth inclusion. So any governor who does not do us youth inclusion, I don't think young people will want to support.
But I'm talking about awareness now.
Of course,
beyond mobilizing towards youth inclusion.
If you talk
are these young people even aware of what their roles as their civic roles are, and what to expect from these political positions?
Yes, young people are aware. We are aware that our votes, look, the awareness as of today, it is obvious that everything about our country revolves around political power. You want to get a job, it revolves around political power. You want to get your name, you want to, just like you rightly say, even when your wife wants to give birth, you need political power to support you financially to be able to do so. You go to a hospital when you want to give birth, you still need political power for a better health system. You need political power for better roads. You need political power for better schools. So the consciousness is that for our country to work, the consciousness of our young people need to be tilted towards voting the right set of people that can deliver these dividends of democracy, for life to be easy for us as young people. And to do this, you know, awareness is in stages. We can all not get awareness at the same time, right? We can also not get the same level of awareness. There are some who are already involved. Their level of awareness will be higher than those who are not yet involved. For example, I am not a special advisor, right? My level of awareness in terms of governance and government programs and projects is much more than the man who is
naturally. I mean, you're exposed to so much. You now know the nitty gritty, what it entails, governance entails.
I need to take it to the young people, but I must be sincere enough to take it to them in the right direction, for the good of the generation.
Okay,
that's what is most important, and I think we're doing so.
Now let's go to political parties. I mean, there's what a lot of us in the civil society, or
are you sure you're in the civil society?
A lot of us who often advocate, especially for youth inclusion.
Okay.
There's something we often see. The proclamations by political parties when they say they have slashed prices of nomination forms for young people and women. We see it a lot of times as just playing lip service to the matter, because when the meetings that determine a lot happens, these young people aren't often in those tables, and we don't see the considerations at the end of the day. I agree, I've always said it, nobody's going to hand you power, you need to work for it. But if we're using the political parties as a tunnel to achieve power for young people, we have seen political parties really hold young people by their neck, and you see them struggle. So would you say in your engagement with political parties, young people, this fundamental issue of genuinely providing a space for young people, is it something we should be really concerned about as we move towards 2027?
Yes, first, they're not too young to run bill. It's a fraud for me. Because, yes, there's a not too young to run bill. But how do you run? How do you run? Look, when you want to ask for an office, the stiffness of a political party discourages the young man. And power is wrestled. So it is very expensive to aspire in this country, no matter your level of preparedness to serve, no matter your level of knowledge. The political party can just frustrate you. And so what we pray at this point is simple. We want a situation where the political party, and of course we can't own the political party called Youth Party. Of course the electoral institution is there to even scatter whatever vote we have.
Right.
First is that we need to have confidence in INEC, we need to have confidence in the judiciary, and we need to have confidence that our votes will count, like I said earlier. But when you go into a party to ask for elections, the first thing you do is that you declare your interests. When you're declaring your intentions to run, you're expected to spend millions of naira. When you finish that, for example, you have 21 council wards you need to deal with, right? You need to spend a minimum of 10 million in each of these council wards.
Wow.
And that's about the 200 and something million naira.
Right.
And so, yeah, because the young people themselves won't come out. That's why we're going to these issues of, giving awareness how elections process should go. That look, you cannot spend so much to get into an office and come back and deliver dividends of democracy.
Because you must recoup.
That's the point. So, but the danger is that there are some people who didn't spend so much. They have joined the party that you need to spend so much. For example, there are some who won elections under the Labour Party who didn't spend money at all.
They didn't?
Yeah, they did it.
Okay.
They just got form, filled their form just to take part. For the sake of one man, they were voting, they got vote,
Right.
and off they go. And they are in National Assembly. While they are in National Assembly, they have now moved to another party where they will now buy nomination form for 15 million.
Because now, is it that they can now afford it?
Of course they cannot. They have seen
or,
as the norm.
no. However, I mean, if you got it at a platter of gold, so to speak,
Yes.
why do you even think, sorry to digress, but this is very important, you
Yeah.
mentioned it in passing, why do you think they find the need to move? Because this is what
The fear is that history might not repeat itself. So he needs to be rigged in.
Right.
Yeah, that's the fear. And of course that's what it is.
But that's not a healthy democracy. A
That's-
healthy
eventually
democracy,
that's what we'll find
a
ourselves.
healthy democracy should hold you by the things you have done and promised to do for your people.
Look.
For instance, you mentioned the legislators specifically as some of the people who enjoyed this massive support based on the P2B move.
Yeah.
Now, if you contested elections and you got it at that place, why wouldn't you put an effort into delivering dividends of democracy, legislate people-centric policies or laws, just so that you will get voted in? Do we have such a twisted democracy that no matter what you do in the house, no matter what you do in the office that you hold, nobody cares?
Of course. Of course. That's what the young people need to get this away. Nobody cares. That's the truth. Look, let me tell you, the system can remove you.
Not because you are not competent.
No, not because you're not
because you have not delivered.
Just because you're not loyal. The system can remove you. Look, in fact, it's even more dangerous for you to be competent. There's a level you deliver democracy, you become an issue to them. So, look, that's the most reason why as young people, if we're not careful, today we're inheriting a system where corruption is the order of the day. Yes, anywhere you go to, there must be tips.
We had this conversation the last
yes,
time.
From if you go to government house, any government house today, right, you must tip to get access to a few things. There are very few people that you won't tip. Sometimes to even see a governor, you need to tip someone to be able to see a governor.
When you say tip, a lot of people listening to you are thinking it's probably small monies and it's in hard currency.
Of course.
People looking straight brazenly in your face.
Look, somebody can tell you that, look, Joy, you won't see the governor again. And you will never see him. You will never. That's what it is. Look, you can be in this, sometimes as at today, the enemies of the issues of anti-party today, the enemies of the party are members of the party. You no longer find people fight political party. You find members of political party fighting political party. This one won't return. You find someone who has done first term, second term, third term, fourth term. You find someone still supporting him to do fifth term. Even if he's a traditional stool. Even he.
But what if he's doing a good job?
In this country?
In this country,
Man, it's difficult to find one doing except my governor.
That right there is how a politician responds to tough questions. I like you. But let's go straight to looking at 2027. You had, a lot of people believed in a certain individual, Peter Obi, for instance, and gave vote to Labour Party without thoughts.
Yeah.
My question now is, when you look at 2027 and all that has happened within the Labour Party, do you think Peter Obi will still enjoy that massive support? Do you think there's such a human being that will come up again and enjoy that kind of support? Because a lot has been unraveled. Nigerians are seeing the mystery behind certain individuals is no longer shrouded in mystery. Now they know that you pick side here. Now they know that the Labour Party is not a martyred a party that comes without its own internal issues as well. Do you foresee that massive support?
No, you see, let me tell you, 2027, Asiwaju will have a landslide victory. It's a one-way thing. Look, it is difficult to, it is difficult to remove someone who is up for a second term.
Okay,
particularly in the executive. But as young people...
But it happened in this country.
To who?
To Goodluck Jonathan.
No, Goodluck was headed for a third term. As at that time. First, let me tell you.
A second term, actually.
Yeah, second term, actually. But in the political phase, it was more like a third term.
But he didn't have a complete first term. So that would be wrong to say that was a third term.
You don't take oath more than twice as chief executive.
But that didn't stop him from...
No, the
that's
point
not
is
what
that,
stopped
no,
his
the point
emergence.
Is that, the point is that, look, Joy, let's be honest to ourselves, irrespective of emotions.
No emotions here. But that's not what stopped his
if I stand
emergence.
here, if I am deputy to you, right? And eventually you got elevated. Let me not say you give up. And then I take oath of office as president. And I go back and instead of leaving, for example, after taking that oath of office as president, after that tenure, I should leave and allow you to go back to that zone. But I still contested and then won. I took oath of office the second time as president. Now I want to come back and take oath of office again the third time. The people have to resist. But the judiciary can interpret that. That's for the judiciary. But however...
Is that what you think happened to Jonathan?
Yes, that's the anger.
Really?
Yeah,
that's another angle to it.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I had never considered
that
this
is
angle.
what it is. Now, if you talk about voting him out, let me tell you, there's nobody in this country that is experienced in opposition like the sitting president. Nobody. When you talk
I would agree with you.
Yeah, when you talk about opposition, the president, irrespective of his age and position and status in the society, comes out to lead opposition. Who is leading opposition today?
Unfortunately, because of the many internal crises, we are not seeing that strong opposition.
Let me tell you,
but that's not to undermine the coalition.
No matter the level of internal crisis, there's always a leader.
And yet, okay, but that's not...
Asiwaju has always played that leadership.
We have an article leading opposition.
As at the times Asiwaju led opposition, he wasn't on the ballot. He had no intention of being on the ballot.
No, I'm talking about as we speak now.
No, but Atiku wants to be on the ballot. How do you lead opposition?
Is that what you mean by a leader of opposition? He must not be on the ballot?
Look, let me tell you. As at when the coalition for APC was being formed, right? Asiwaju was even daring to be a vice president. He gave up.
But that doesn't make him less or more of an opposition leader.
You can't play a leadership responsibility and then you have ambition.
Why not?
No, in this part of the country, it doesn't work like that.
What part of the country
Nigeria. Are we? It doesn't. So when Jonathan was contesting, if you remember, there was a walkout at Eagle Square between Rotimi
Amechi, exactly.
Atiku, Tambuwa, and others. Let me tell you, if he didn't stage that walkout, most likely that coalition, PDP would have been part of it. That means Jonathan would have won. Maybe today would have been president. Now, when he went back to that coalition and contested primaries with late Muhammadu Buhari and lost, Buhari won. Is it not so? So, you cannot want to lead opposition and then you have ambition. everybody you give responsibility in that opposition setting, the first thing you consider is this: will they support you? And when you begin to have such considerations in terms of building, the challenge you're going to have is that you're going to put round peg in square holes. It's normal.
How is that normal?
Yes, it's normal.
If political parties have their set out roles and understand exactly what they are supposed to do.
They are assigned. Individuals are assigned.
It's unfortunate.
That is,
I mean, we keep having these conversations very casually, and it concerns me, and it concerns it concerns our democracy. I don't want to say the survival of our democracy. I'm not sending a message per se, but what I'm saying is that we keep having these conversations. Last elections, they just concluded 2023 elections. The build-up of the elections, it was unfortunate that competition, I keep saying this, I know that people who follow me would say I'm becoming a broken record, but it is what it is. This consensus that we have introduced into our political and democratic process, I mean, it is a valid constitutional way of picking a leader. But in your words, knowing the role and influence that certain individuals have within the political party and the financial muscle of certain individuals, would you agree that that's one thing that has really affected young people's emergence? Because some people just sit down.
I disagree.
I've had certain conversations with
I disagree,
young people.
because consensus, let me tell you, consensus can give birth to a nobody to becoming somebody.
When has that happened in?
It happens in my state.
Please, you said in this
our climes. The speaker of my state house of assembly, right? Yeah, if you ask him at the time when he wanted to be speaker, right? If you ask him to begin to buy members, because of course you will, I don't think he would have.
If you had asked him, I didn't get that right.
If the process was thrown to a stage where they say, look, begin to induce your members to vote for you.
He wouldn't have had the financial muscle. But sometimes it's not about financial muscle. It's everything about influence.
No. Let me tell you, delegates collect money. You need to know this and know peace. Delegates collect money.
They do?
Yes.
I don't know about that.
I mean, sometimes you find an entire senatorial district, right? That has, for example, 5 local governments.
Right.
And they have about 30 delegates per local government. They're going to rent a hotel for 30 delegates per local government. 30 by 5 will give you about 150, right? Good. And so they're going to have 150 rooms somewhere, get vehicles. On the day of the primaries, they put them all in a vehicle, drive them with directive, give them money, and they vote who they want to vote for.
Good.
And they give you the party flag.
That right.
So at the end of the day, you want the same man to bring borehole. You want the same man to bring education. You want the same man to bring health.
I criticize the financial. I criticize the financial inducement that happens there. But that's not making it a better or worse thing than consensus, in the sense where I mean, I've had conversations with contenders, candidates, and aspirants who sometimes say, "Oh, my governor sat down and said I should not go this time. I should let the next person win." And a call was made to certain wards, and they're like, "You know what? These primaries, let's not even bother with everything. We have decided that Dan Obo will go instead of Joy."
Thank you very much. I will go.
And they call it. And they call it consensus.
Yes, of
and
course.
you leave those. In fact, even when there's someone, one candidate, I would introduce that candidate to you. Maybe you have the conversation. Even when there's someone here to tell you that, "Oh no, we no longer want you to run," it's like a command. Because frankly, when the party leadership has sat down to say, "This is who we pick, this is who we do not pick," who are you to say no?
The law gives the party the right to produce its
Is that a
candidate.
healthy democratic process?
But that's where we find ourselves, George.
Is that what consensus really means?
Yeah,
because by virtue of the word consensus, it means we all come to an agreement. All candidates come and say, "You know what? Instead of going to have..."
Where one person don't agree, it's no longer consensus.
But when one person does not agree, what
You go to the field.
mechanisms does he have to
What
fight?
mechanism are you talking
Because
about? If you don't have mechanism to fight, you have to agree the consensus.
Oh my goodness.
That's what it
Oh
is.
my goodness. It's a very beautiful time to go for a very short break.
If you don't have the muscle to fight the consensus,
you have to
accept the consensus. Because sometimes, right? Sometimes you can ask for something higher. That the consensus can take you a step down.
Oh, please. But we are going for a short break. We still have Comrade Dan right here with us. When we return, we're still having this conversation. You can also reach us. Remember, we are streaming on YouTube and all social media platforms as well. We would have that conversation shortly, talking about young people, alignment towards 2027, and the mobilization that's necessary to get us emerging, to get us the emergence of young candidates that have Nigeria's interest at heart. We had gotten the conversation to the healthy democracy. What constitutes healthy democracy, especially for our climb? We got to discuss consensus. My guest Comrade Dan Ubo is still here with us. He is the special advisor on youth mobilization to the governor of Cross River State. And I think before we leave the consensus story, you still have something to say. But after that, we will move on and have other conversations, because I was a bit sad when you alluded and agreed that it does happen where young people are leaders exert influence, and it affects young people's political or leadership plans. And you said, yeah, if you do not have what it takes to fight the system, you accept what has been given to you.
Yes, let me tell you, when you begin consultation for elections, and they take you to the table of consensus, you must be in the conversation.
Right.
Right. Every negotiation, it depends on your strength and the ovation you get from the ground. Right. There are some people that you get to a consensus table, they can't do away with you.
Right.
So until you're on that table, you really won't understand what people benefit in that consensus table. Now, let me tell you.
What could you possibly benefit? Remember that you are here to serve. Let's, hypothetically speaking, you have the best intentions. And you're here to serve.
No,
you want to give people dividends of democracy.
Let me tell you something, right? If you don't accept the consensus, you have a right
to go to court.
To go to court, for example. That is one. Two, if you don't accept the consensus,
right,
they will ask you to go to the field. That same call that was made, those electorate, hold on, those electorate, you can give them 1 million. I have seen where in my state there was a consensus for someone in the course of going for the consensus.
Within the primaries?
Yes, within the primaries. In the course of going for the consensus.
Against your political parties and the leadership that has told you.
The leadership has given materials even to someone. The materials were seized on the road. The other person who was expected to accept the consensus drove on the road and seized the materials. Today is an elected officer at a certain level. So when they say consensus,
your hands are not tied?
Your hands are not tied.
Okay.
Your hands are not tied. But it's a process to forestall unnecessary expenditure. It's a process to save your resources. It's a process that gives you a rethink in the course of our democratic processes. Look, you must take a retrospect and look at yourself. Tell yourself the truth.
But you must.
This is our democracy. How does it work?
But you agree that a lot of people leave this so-called consensus more sadder than they went in. They never agree with
it depends on their strength. It depends on their strength.
Very often you see them murmuring.
There are some who will live in that way. Send them to the field. They won't have more than 3 votes.
Only because of the influence that we just accepted.
No, but that's why you need to accept the consensus.
Unfortunately, okay, so yeah, well, we're still talking about youth politics and the road to 2027. So let's get to the conversation to what you think, in your words, the strategy should be for youth to adopt, to move from being political foot soldiers. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Yeah, political foot soldiers to actual decision makers in 2027. What are the strategies you will suggest?
Yeah, we need to all come out to demand for elective offices. Right? If we come out to demand for elective office, I mean, for example, we have in every state, we have up to 3, 4, 5 young people demanding. Even if you just have one across board, right? It gives you a voice inside. And that voice can possibly resonate to a stage where young people can have their way. But we can't fold our hands. I want to remain PAs, want to remain aides. And even as we talk about leadership, there are some leaders who are deliberate in developing young people. And our president is one of them. My governor is also one of them. Deliberate. And I know other governors.
What
and
I know other
governors.
Your president has done, which is that intentionality he has put into building young people?
Of course, we have a lot of young people in government. We have a lot of young people. And that is a learning process.
Well, a lot in his cabinet.
Of course.
Okay.
We have a lot in his cabinet. We also have a lot who are not in his cabinet, heads of MDAs, right? Government, heads of government parastatals and MDAs. We have a lot. Look, let me tell you, all of us cannot just pump in at the same time.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Few are going to get involved, just like that.
But beyond this limit, because like you just accepted, there are limited spaces in governance. Absolutely, you do not expect everyone to have a place of leadership in governance. Beyond this, he has given opportunities to certain young people in governance. What else would young people look back and say, you know what, he's right. President Tinubu has equipped young people enough. I'm saying this because there's unemployment, there's insecurity, there's economic challenges that young people are facing at the moment, and that has hindered a lot, especially in businesses and in them thriving, and also which we know that some of the consequences of all of this is further pushing them to be dependent on financial inducement that may come elections. So what would young people say? You seem confident. Is it because you are an essay?
No. Let me tell you. Yes, there's insecurity, right? There's unemployment, right? And that's hunger. But if every government opens the window for employment like my state did, in our state as of today, right? The civil service, there was an open for employment. The state civil service, the local government civil service, they're open for employment. Well, there are other social programs that the government is running for intervention. If you come to the country today, the president just opened the window for all paramilitary employment, civil defense, immigration.
Should we all go into government work? Should we all be civil?
No, but that's what you're saying.
I'm talking about an enabling environment that will make businesses, MSMEs thrive.
There is enabling environment.
Right.
Of course you
I
have
want to understand what gives you this confidence that there is enabling environment for businesses to thrive in our country, for young people.
You know, if you talk about what gives me confidence, right? If you look at the society generally, you look at young people inclusion, you look at young people both in SM, like I said earlier before in this program, that all of us cannot have political appointment.
Right. Absolutely.
All of us will bring our values from different angles to add to what the government is doing. And whether you like it or not, everything do not rise and fall on the decks of the president. We have a local government system, we have a state system, and we have a federal system. And so this issue of continually holding the president to ransom, that he must do this without the state governors, he must do this without the local government chairman, to me it doesn't make sense. If the local government chairman does plays his part, the governor plays his part, and the president compliments, I'm sure we are good to go. So it is high time young people also begin to hold governors accountable. Also begin to hold their local government chairmen accountable. Also begin to hold their ward councillors accountable.
Absolutely.
Also begin to hold their senators and National Assembly members accountable. The idea of just holding Mr. President accountable doesn't make sense.
You look around, your gutters are not fixed, and you say the president. And look, that's the awareness I was talking about
earlier.
Yes,
of course. We are beginning to let people understand that, look, your local government chairman has to be held accountable.
Okay.
That is the more reason why the president was interested about the autonomy of the local government. Your governor needs to be held responsible. That is why, from record, the governors have more money than before. Is it not so? That's what we get to know.
Oh, yeah.
So if so be, why
enhanced, improved allocation.
So if so be, why still hold the president responsible? Insecurity, the governor is chief security officer. Insecurity, the local government chairman is chief security officer, right? Unemployment, like I said earlier, if every governor opens the window, in my state, SMEs thrive. In Cross River, people, as I speak with you, even those who retire, there is a deliberate attempt to engage them. Even those who are still serving as civil servants, there's a deliberate attempt to engage them.
Oh, that bit I know. That bit I know.
Fine.
I know that there's some allocation that's given
so
for
if every
MSMEs
state follow,
retirees.
if every state follow the Cross River State template, I am very sure the issue of insecurity will be a thing of the past, because young people will be engaged beyond getting political engagement.
Okay, I appreciate that. But since we do not have so much time and we are talking about the road to 2027, I'd like us to address INEC, technology, because one of the unfortunate conversations after the general elections was how, like, Beavers and IREF was not as transparent as Nigerians had hoped it to be. So my question would be, do you think the commission is fully prepared to deliver credible elections, one that Nigerians would, without, I mean, that would be tough. There's no elections like that anywhere in the world, but one that Nigerians will know INEC is truly independent and is trustworthy enough to deliver free, fair, and credible elections.
Yes.
I mean, with their body language and engagements with youth organizations and bodies that you've been part of.
Yes, you know, every day we expect that INEC improves, right? We weren't using beavers before, and eventually today we are using beavers. I have a conviction that in 2027, right, INEC certainly will improve. Let's first have confidence on the INEC, right? Let's first have confidence. And then the process of PVC is ongoing. Let's get our PVC. Look, you can't rig elections with minority vote. You can't. For you to rig an election, you must have majority vote. And you know, you rig from the polling unit.
So if you have majority votes, why do you need to rig at all?
Sometimes you go to a polling unit, you find other political party collecting money from the ruling party, and sign results that are not real. A lot of things happen.
No, please, I want to understand that. So a political party equipped their observers to the polling booth, but these people go there, collect money from the ruling party.
You know,
is that what you are? Is that the scenario you are trying to paint?
Yeah, the law is that when you get to a polling unit, right, and there are 10 political parties with candidates for the elections,
right,
the 10 of them have agents.
Agents, not observers, right?
Good.
Agents, right?
And now, when the 10 of them have to sign result for it to be valid. So when you find the 10 of them sign result, how do you think that result is not valid? How do you invalidate the result?
So they are also compromised.
I did not say so.
That's what you implied.
I didn't say
so. So they're also compromised. I mean, there were several funny stories like that. There was, I remember, was it a senatorial candidate who said he didn't win any elections. He had mobilized people, he had mobilized agents and all of that. He realized he had 2 votes and 50 people came to tell him they were the ones who did the vote. So, I mean, we get to see all of this, and it's really interesting. We have a very dynamic electoral process. But what would you say, knowing what you know, if you were a candidate, what would you say you should do to avoid your agent, you know, falling into the fray and receiving inducements from another party?
It's just to have you also have agents who will be willing to say what they see on the polling booth. Right?
And do we have enough of that within young people?
Yes, we have. Yes, we have. We have, and you know that there's always a room to educate your agents according to the number of polling units you're standing elections for. And so when you educate them, you also need to equip them with resources. That's what I've told you earlier, that in our climb here, elections are very expensive. So sometimes you can even sell properties to go for elections. Yeah. Right?
So, borrow money from the bank.
And so by the time you win, the first thing you do, you need to go get back better properties than the ones. So, right? So you need to do all of that. So for me, I feel that we need to continue to create this awareness with our young people, that we can do this without this inducement. And I think it's possible. Okay.
So I'm happy you talked about awareness. What are you doing as the youth mobilization lead in Cross River State, as it were? What are you doing to lead this mobilization and awareness to say, you know what, the future is literally in your hands? Whoever you vote determines the quality of air you breathe, the quality of food you eat, how well you can cultivate, the kind of incentives you can enjoy from government, and all that.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of town hall meetings, getting into churches.
Oh, okay.
Right? Getting into mosques, making sure that every youth organization, every youth platform, anywhere young people gather, this message has to be taken down there. Much of this message has to be a bottom-top approach.
Right.
Yeah, so we take the message to the people, and we don't allow the people come to us to get the message. So we try as much as we can to traverse the length and breadth of our state, making sure that, and then be available for the young people, and make sure that we let them know the importance of first getting their PVC, and secondly the confidence that, look, your vote will count.
So for young people listening to you right now and saying, you know what, I hear you, what's your advice to Nigerian youth who are already disillusioned with, you know, the politics and governance, and what role can leaders like you play in, I mean, rebuilding that trust?
The country is ours. We can't allow the country to rot. The country is ours. We are, whether we like it or not, these are leaders who come and go. Power is transient. It will get to a point where we need to come up. And so we don't need to run away. We need to stand, defend our country, believe in our country, continue to speak well about our country and our leadership. Like the Bible says, we should pray for our leaders. We need to keep praying for our leaders and hoping. You know, sometimes it's not really about prayers. It's about doing the right thing. And in doing the right thing, we must get involved. Gradually, things will take shape. Like 2027, like I keep saying, whether you like it or not, INEC will be better, right? And like I said, there will be no need to struggle the presidency, because it's a one-way thing. Because we can't continue to change policies. This president can bring his own policy. Let's try one policy to the end.
What do you mean by to the end?
Because what I mean by to the end is that today, the renewed hope agenda, let's see it to the end.
But that's the reason why constitutionally we have 4 years per term, so that it's working, it's not working, we have an opportunity for a change. Are you saying that Nigerians at this moment feeling, you know, having appraised this administration so far, today, if elections were right now, they will vote Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu?
You can't judge it. You can't judge a government for 2 years.
Why not?
No, you can't.
But if I'm feeling economic, if I'm feeling economic challenges worse than I was, I am judging you. If I'm unable to afford a 3 square meal before your administration, I am judging you. If the security situation is not as good as it was before, I am judging you from 2 weeks into your administration. So if we have 4 years, and I'm okay, never mind the 2 years I talked about, but come 2027, are your Nigerian youths, the ones you engage with often, are they disillusioned about this administration? You seem confident, but
yes.
What's the pause? Because some of us, we get urgent 2K, urgent 5K calls on a constant.
Yes, you know, let me tell you, like I said earlier, this present administration, every government, you don't need to judge it within the space of 2 years. If everybody who had been president, if everybody who had been governor, have taken some steps that have been taken today, I'm sure we won't be where we are today. And so for me, I believe that before it gets to the actual 4 years of this government, for us to vote another government into power, I am very confident, right, that it will be difficult to have an opposition for Asiwaju.
Oh, that's interesting to know. And I'm happy you have this.
We're here to see. We're here.
I'm happy you have this confidence.
Yeah, it will be difficult.
There was an influx. Would I say influx or barrage? I mean, the media has, we have termed it all sorts of names, but we've been seeing this movement. A lot of people seem to have joined the APC. With the announcement of the coalition, we saw people leave. I was surprised to hear that Chief Oyegun also left the APC, and several other bigwigs within the party. Wouldn't that affect the party at all?
It's both ways. Crossing to APC, crossing to ADC, crossing to PDP.
Now what Mama Bonolofuna.
So it's just a crossing thing. It doesn't change anything. One big man goes here, another big man comes
one big man.
One big name goes here,
another big name comes here. Right.
So that's what.
So it's just at the end of the day balancing itself.
That it will balance.
So if it balances, is it going to be? Do you perceive or envision a stiff contention? Like, do you think it's going to be, because you're making it look like it's going to be very easy?
Like I said, before we get to 2027 proper, the idea of this present government getting into political processes earlier than it should is as a result of most likely blackmail about the government, painting the government in an image it doesn't deserve, right? So, but like I said, before we get to 2027 proper, I don't think this president is going to have an opposition. He's
not going to have an opposition?
Yeah, I don't think so.
In spite of what we are hearing around coalition ADC,
I don't want to go there.
The PDP seem to be having, you need to go there. Don't hide your head in the sand. The PDP is trying to get its house together. We have the coalition APC. We have Labour Party also, you know.
Today, the only political party with one national chairman is the APC.
with one national chairman. Does the PDP have more than one national chairman?
Of course, whether you like it or not, there are two factions.
How are there two factions?
Yeah, there's the FCT ministers faction. We say no, the convention would hold. There's a Damagus faction. We say the convention will hold in your state, right?
No, but
go to Labour Party. There's an Abure. Go to Labour Party. There's an Abure faction. I'm coming.
That's just two opposing views.
We will sign the convention to, as of today. In our laws, for a national convention to hold, the national chairman and the national secretary needs to sign.
Right.
The national secretary has not signed for the convention to hold.
That's just internal, but that doesn't make it a
no. What that means that the convention
there's no parallel leadership.
No, what that means that the convention would hold, and the convention does not hold. How do you get candidates? Look, Joy, you need to understand the system.
What's the system?
Now, secondly, when you go to Labour Party, there's an Abure faction.
Oh yeah.
And there is another faction. Is it not so? Yeah. If you go to ADC, there is a former Senate President faction. And there's somebody who just popped up that is the national chairman.
And who says he does not accept the coalition? It's unfortunate.
So that's why I say
but while we're on the subject,
yes.
Why do you think we're having all this back and forth with political parties? A lot of people have pointed at the president to say, well, it's you are causing rift within political.
It's not his duty to ask you to put your house together. It's not his duty.
But if you have to, I mean, it's worse than we've ever known it. We've always known that when you get to the big boy table, you have big boy issues. And we saw the NNPP, we saw Labour Party, we saw all of that. And we're like, come on, you barely aren't even in the big boy table yet. However, what do you think, in your words, are the reasons why political parties are having these huge internal rift that's making them not seem structured and organized?
No disciplinary measure and no
disciplinary measures.
No ideologies.
But that's the problem we've always faced since 1999.
So that's what
no ideologies. So I mean, you wake up. How many political parties have you joined since the inception of democracy?
This most likely.
You don't have to answer. You don't have to answer. I was just joking. But it's interesting. That's exactly what we face all the time, where it seems like I agree with you as long as it benefits my political interest at that moment.
That's what benefits you, media. Yeah, as long as it benefits what you think is good for the country, what you think is good for what you think is good, right? You accept it. So, sometimes we find people. You say even in the media? Yes, you find people. You really want to start that conversation? No, I'm coming. Sometimes you find people criticize Mr. A for a certain decision, right? Okay. And then when that same decision is taken by someone they admire, they support. That's not true. If that decision is one that's not people-centric, if it's going to hurt people, I've let people. I know what I'm saying. You're talking about in the political space. Yes, of course. I'm talking about from the media aspect. You mentioned the media, and my antenna went up. But Comrade Dan Obo, thank you so much for being part of the program. Time flies when we are having fun. Thank you for your insight into youth politics and the road to 2027. Well done on the mobilization you do, especially in Cross River State. Unfortunately, we didn't get to talk about a lot that you would love to talk about. You want to sing praises for your governor. Not really. No, we don't need to sing praises. We need to say it the way it is. Thank you. In the course of conversation, you affirm some few things I said. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the role of the media. We make sure that fact is out there. Thank you for being part of the program. And for you who watched us, I hope you had a wonderful time watching us. We had this conversation with Comrade Dan Obo, a special advisor on youth mobilization to Governor of Cross River State. This is where we draw the curtains on today's show. I am Joy Asoye. Have yourself a wonderful evening.